back again to the Iconist podcast. Thank you for tuning in once again. This is your host, Barry 3D, and I'm here with
DJ Rod C.
DJ Rod C.
Sorry. Focus. Sorry.
We're gonna take you back. So right now. So
How far back?
We going back. Oh my God, we going back to 1974.
Back in time. Yes.
Back in time. This is pre-Star Wars. This is pre all this stuff. So we're going back and we're bringing you a character that starts off as man, ends up as half man, half machine, turned into a killer by the government. You know, there's a little bit of maybe alternate realities in there, and yes. This is like Terminator before Terminator.
I was about to say, this is $6 million man. This is Steve Rod.
It's after Steve, but before I'll be back.
Gotcha.
Before as well as after. But before dun. I'm here for Sarah Connor. I'll be back. Love that line. We are going to talk about another character from the DC's past who's shown up in the future. A lot of fans would recognize he showed up in the future, and a lot of people are going to think, what? When did I miss that? So we're going to be talking about Deathlok the Demolisher.
Got it. Cool. Got it.
That was his first name.
Yes. Oh, something else was going through my head. Go on.
That was his first name, Deathlok the Demolisher. That's when he first came out. So if you're seeing my screen behind me here, this is what it is. This is the second thing. But yeah.
Sorry, can we cut that? You said DC. I thought I heard you said DC.
I did.
Yeah, that's
why. We'll start that again.
That's what I was like thinking. I swear I heard him say DC. How can I? No problem. I was like, it's gonna be bad. DC.
Good call. All right, so here we're gonna start that one again. So
no problem. Because I wasn't sure. Was one of the writers or something like that was DC?
No,
it was from.
He done DC stuff and he done Marvel stuff, but
sugar. Sorry, I wasn't.
No. But I even talked to him. I probably did say DC. So let's just go and start that one again.
Okay, cool.
My mind is going. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
All right, here we go. So I'll put my hand. All right, there we go. We'll cut this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Iconist podcast. I am here with
Rod C.
And I am Barry 3D. We are your hosts going back in time on another Marvel ride. We are going to talk about, a man that was, wrong and wronged and just his life path just changed. He was in the army. He got hurt in an accident. They transported his brain into someone else. And next thing you know, he was, part man, part machine. We are talking about Deathlok the Demolisher.
Thank you very much. Cool.
Right? What?
Deathlok.
They can get away with some crazy stuff in Marvel. So let me hit you with it. Deathlok. So if you see my screen, you see him behind me, right? Marvel character, and this is actually his second look. His first look, he still was, robot side. This is what he pretty much looked like. Don't get it twisted. He was Terminator before Terminator. He was after Steve Austin, but before I'll be back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. So Deathlok the Demolisher, right? He first appeared in August of 1974. And why are we talking about a character in 1974? Because this character's shown up now, and maybe some of you missed him. He made his live action debut, a few years ago. So he's still relevant.
Right.
They just didn't do him exactly the same way. Changed some stuff up. It's okay. I wish it kept more to the original story, but we're going to talk about him. So let's go back at him. Looking at my notes here. So Deathlok the Demolisher, right? He was made by Marvel Comics. First appearance, as I said, in 1974, back in August, and he was created by Rich Buckler and Doug Monick. And he had a short issue run. So his very first appearance was in Astonishing, Marvel's Astonishing Tales number 25. and he's very dynamic. He's on the cover and he's kind of being held on a big X kind of cross, Trissy going through him, and and he has that look almost like Cyborg from DC. How his head looks, right, with how the metal comes across, the one eye, but this, he's got a more of a no nose. His skin's all kind of, ratate and gone, and yeah. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Yes.
Right. And the cool thing is that the two people behind him, right? So, Rich and Doug. So Doug is also worked on other projects. So I'll give you a little rundown of what Doug has done. So Rich was the original artist on Astonishing Tales that drew the series, that first appearance. And Doug was the one that really kind of came up. So the two of them worked together. And Doug worked on other books of note, which is really interesting. So he's worked on, some Batman. He's worked on Moon Knight, which is interesting because Moon Knight's getting ready to be filmed right now on Disney Plus. Isaac right now is doing his training. If you look online, you can see Isaac doing his training for Moon Knight. Sick. He's going to be a beast. Like martial arts training. They showed look him up on his Instagram. He's also done, Black Mask, Electric Woman, Six from Cyrus, very good series. It was different. You got to get into it. I got to go back and read it. And then he worked on Master of Kung Fu.
Really though? Tell me
Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu.
Tell me more.
Right, which is going to be another Disney Plus series, live action. And the main star, the guy who's playing the main character, is right here from Toronto.
That's right.
Right. So the way I'm looking at it is like, Doug, good on you. You've gotten two of your properties that you really are behind out in the market. Your Deathlok character is seeing the light of day, and Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, is on his way. And to make that rap, make that rhyme. What you hit it. So we're going back, and we're going to be talking about Deathlok. And as I said, the character appeared, and then he was also he also made his debut live action wise on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, the TV show, and he was played by J. August Richards, who was playing him. So if you watch like the very first season, he was right there from the get go. Yeah, he was there with his little kid. Kid wanted to buy I think an Iron Man doll or something like that. Anyways, he gets hurt and he gets turned into Deathlok. You don't see with the metal how the traditional look of Deathlok is. In the series, you get like an X-ray version. You see he's got the metal underneath his skin, but they don't give him the guns, but he has weapons in his body. So that's how they kind of changed it up for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But that's who we were covering. So first of all, his publication history, he came out and it was under the title like Cyborg, and then they first had the Deathlok series, and it ran in Astonishing Tales issue number 25 to 28. Then it stopped. They had a different creative thing in between, and then he came back for issues 30 to 36. So he was kind of on and off again. And the version of this one we're talking about, the very first one, his name was Luther Manning. And he's guest starred in Spider-Man and Marvel Team Up in 1976. He was in a Marvel Spotlight, issue number 33 in 1977. 77 was a good year for sci-fi. Really? We did another show about 1977 with the X-Men and Corsair, the Starjammers, and they were in 1977.
Yep, that's true.
Star Wars was 1977. Here we are now, once again, Deathlok. Marvel was really pumping it out in 1977. They were rocking it up.
We need to get stuff out. Let's go.
It's all about that sci-fi. He's teamed up with the Thing. He's teamed up with the Fantastic Four. So Marvel 2-in-1. So Luther Manning. So pretty much. And then, the thing is with Deathlok is the body always stays, but sometimes the mind changes. So Luther Manning was the first one. And then the one you see behind me is Michael Collins, who takes over and gets put into that armor. So with Deathlok, he was in the army. Luther Manning was in the army. He gets injured in a very bad accident. He's lost an arm. He's lost some of his limbs. The brain function is very low. Then the general comes in and says, okay, well, Luther signed up for this to donate whatever. We're taking his body. We have, classified doctors. We're going to harvest the organ and go for this project. So they pretty much take the brain, put it into the cyborg body. What's interesting is, even though he's a cyborg in the body, he also has a computer in the body. So he always has his internal dialogue going on, So he'll say computer, in his mind, say computer, target scan. Okay, target scanning this, and that. So picture like Michael Knight in the car with Kit. They always have the dialogue. Yeah, but it's in the back of his head. Only he hears it. Only he hears the computer, and the computer helps him do like calculations, aiming, how much force to use to break certain things. So it's a battle computer. Right. Lethal force, non-lethal force, analyze the situation. Almost like I was gonna say Action Man. That cartoon is like amp it up.
Action Man, that's hilarious. It's been a long time.
Series, man.
So listen, I'll even segue off to that. We're going to the other people of DC, but it's the same kind of similarity with Blue Beetle, with the Scarab.
Yes,
he's always like, at least out of the cartoon right now, at Justice and Young Justice.
Yeah,
the Scarab was always talking in his head. It's the same kind of scenario, just so that people have a parity of understanding that something that's more close to what you may see right now. If you're watching and you're up to your Marvel and DC movies and cartoons, that'll be the closest thing I can say get it similar to what Barry's saying. But please continue.
Yeah, no problem. So, he was Colonel Luther Manning, right? An American soldier from Detroit, Michigan. Okay, let's get it. He's black. He's black, y'all. He's black, y'all. He's blacker than black because he's black, y'all. And he's blickety black, but black, but blick, but black, but blick. Yes, I was spelling out C before.
Yeah. Alan Payne.
Alan Payne.
Shout out to Alan Payne.
Alan Payne, come on, man. I told you. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. That's mind blowing. Okay. So, so after being fatally, G Money, after being fatally injured, he's reanimated.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's reanimated. Strong bloodlines in a post-apocalyptic future, right? Mm-hmm. And the future at the time was originally given the date of 1990. So keep in mind, the book came out in 1974, and the future to them was 1990. Mm-hmm. Right?
Like 16 years in the future. Yeah, that's what it should be about. Okay, good.
Exactly. That's what blows me, that 1990 was the future. 1990 was the future. Come on. According to Prince, we didn't start partying to 1999.
Come on. Talk about it.
Talk about it. Hallelujah. We gonna party like it's 19. Sorry. We're having a moment. So,
it's okay. It's all right. It's Prince.
Yeah. Oh no, my connection's acting weird. It's all good. It'll get back on track. So this is what it came out to. And they pretty much the body was dead. So they took the remains, they reanimated it, put it in there, and it doesn't take place. And that's the thing. When he first got created, he didn't take place in the traditional Marvel universe, like on Earth 616. It's 616.
616.
Yeah, 616 is the Marvel universe where we get most of our heroes, all our stories. But just like DC, Marvel, of course, has their multiverse, and there's X amount of parallel universes all over. So he was in a different one from the get-go. He does cross over to ours. So when he kind of crosses over or time travels, it seems, he gets into the mainstream 616 universe, and he looks around and sees things are different because in his time, things are desolate. He's being used by mobsters to turn around and go and kill off certain people. And so pretty much he's a Terminator. That's exactly what his role is. And what plays into this is that it's always some of the smaller things, So he battles the evil corporate and military regimes that have taken over the United States while simultaneously struggling not to lose his humanity. He battles Simon Riker and the first Warwolf and encounters his wife and son for the first time, becoming a cyborg. So it's a lot of stuff that goes on that they can play into it, because his wife, it's almost like RoboCop. Like, Murphy's dead. Okay, well, he looks like Murphy. It's not Murphy.
Oh my gosh, that's another one. Yeah. Okay, go on. Perfect. No, that's right. That's a nice deep cut like that one. That's a nice deep cut.
Yeah. Sorry. So seeing that how they could definitely tie this into more of a humane tale. So that was the first thing with Luther Manning. When you get into Michael Collins, I think that what they should do is combine the two stories because they're really good. You know, Michael Collins, that's the one that's portrayed behind me. So where Luther Manning was a soldier and had no qualms about killing anybody, Luther Manning was more of an engineer, architect, and he was a pacifist. He doesn't believe in killing. So he got merged with the Deathlok program and put in that body. His whole journey was, one, his wife and son think he's dead. He has to disable all the lethal killing mechanisms that are in the Deathlok, cyborg body. And then he has to turn around and still trying to get, meet his wife, still trying to have that relationship and then think of, should he meet her, should he not? But the carrot in front of the donkey is his body is still alive. So all he did was take his brain and put it in Deathlok's body. So he's going over a whole course of adventures. There's a 4-issue prestige miniseries. He's trying to get back his original body. So he's trying, one, not to kill anybody because he's not a killer. And two, he's trying to get back his body.
Oh, yeah. A lot of pressure. There's a lot on the table, guy. Are you prepared for all this? Let's go.
Yeah. So that's what happens. So he's going out there, he's trying to get his body the whole time. So I think it makes sense. Sure. Do you want the action and all that? And do I want him tempered down that much? I mean, let's suppose, I want to see maybe some of the killing.
Yeah.
Don't take away all the killing. Let's have some killing. But I like the aspect that he's still trying to reconnect with his wife, his son, and get back his human body so he can reverse the process and live a normal life. He doesn't want to live as a military cyborg, right? And what's interesting is if you ever watched the Marvel Knights Black Panther 6-episode run, they use the Deathlok program. If you watch that Marvel Knights, it's almost like a motion comic, and it's voiced, whatever, the art styles by John Romita Jr. If you watch that one, you'll see at one point, a aircraft carrier pulls up off the shore. They have all these kind of soldiers looking half dead. And it's like, what's going to do? Oh, it's like, don't worry about it. They're going to just walk off the boat, get into the water, walk across the bottom of the ocean, and come up on Wakanda shores and walk all the way to Wakanda to invade. That was part of the Deathlok program.
Got it.
Right? So we go get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So I think that Deathlok can definitely work as a series. It can't. I don't want to see Deathlok done as a movie. If I want to see Deathlok done, it has to be done as a series. I don't want a series on TV. I want a streaming series. It's got to be Disney Plus, like how they're doing their stuff. So this way we can get a little bit more meat on the bone. Not too PG, because literally he starts off as Deathlok the Demolisher, and he's changed.
The name itself tells you that there might be a little problem.
Right? Exactly. And there's been more than one person that's taken this body over. So the first person was Luther Manning. Then there was John Kelly. Then there was Michael Collins, and that's the one I really liked, his run on it. And then, of course, after that, there was Jack Truman, Larry, and then it was Young, and then Henry Hayes, and I said it goes through the CIA and Secret Defenders and Wild Pack, S.H.I.E.L.D. So all, X-Force, it crosses over a lot of the Marvel Universe. And I think it's always interesting when you always get a smaller character that's able to be more fluid in the Marvel Universe to help tie certain things together. You don't need to see the main heroes all the time. It's the small ones that will, be the glue of the Marvel Universe and let the big ones do the big adventures, So he's got cybernetic enhancements. Yeah. Right, exactly. He's got, superhuman speed, strength, durability, reflexes, ability to repair his bodily damage, ability to track multiple objects at the same time. So he can walk in the room and bing, 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 and then just do one-shot kills on 6-7 people at once. It doesn't matter if you're running, jumping, lying down, rolling, flipping, whatever. He's got a targeting system. He's got you in his sights. This is why his eye looks almost like a bullseye.
Focus, man. Jay-Z on focus, man.
Yeah, I think that it would come in great as as a series, and they got to bring in, for example, Roxanne Oil. So Roxanne, is a company within Marvel that always does things shady. They show up in a series.
No, really?
Yeah,
What company doing shady stuff? Come on,
No, but they're real shady. They're shady and they're shady. There's Slim Shady and then there's just shady. Paying off people. I think it would be really great to bring in Roxanne Oil for, and they've kind of showed those company names and logos. You have a couple of movies that would show, you see Roxanne in the background, you're like, okay, what's Roxanne? And Roxanne, and when if you recognize it as a fan, you're like, wow, we're just the tip of the iceberg. So going into this character, this character is almost like as I said, he's like a Terminator. He's almost like, if you see the movie Universal Soldier, that's my best description for him.
That's a good run. Universal Soldier, you said RoboCop. Are there any other ones? I can't think off the top of my head, but those are, definitely some good base ideas to definitely base, get a grasp of what and who Deathlok is. Mm-hmm. Because at least you can say definitely from the RoboCop aspect of definitely for the second one from Mike Collins in regards to how he wanted to his humanity, how he wanted to be able to be able to connect with his wife, and definitely finding out that his body is still alive and still functioning. He just had that type of human connection. RoboCop would be one of there. And the other one you said, sorry, was who was the other one? You said anyway. You know what? Mm-hmm. Basically, these are good scenarios that you can definitely connect off, and I agree with Barry in regards to you don't realize how much these characters, definitely back in the days, how Marvel had these characters interacting with different people, giving people the understanding and reminding people, listen, you're in one big city. Per se, you're in New York City. There's high chances that people are connecting with each other.
Yes.
You're going to walk across and come across, do something at night, and you're going to upset someone, and someone like the Punisher be doing his little patrol, like, what's going on over there? What are you doing over there, boy? What? Oh, okay, you're doing something good. All right, I'll let you go. Type of scenario. Or fight up, or come across Daredevil, or come across Silver Sable. You know what I mean? There's a lot of connections. So that's great that I agree with Barry that if Marvel can think about interacting and just seeing how you can definitely connect him with some people. You can definitely connect them again. We're not doing a 616 universe. We're doing the Ultimate Universe. So we could definitely connect with Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. At this point. When it gets to the point you're connecting with Fantastic Four, X-Men, Wolverine, when they come onto the table, we've already brought into, not even saying cinematic, well, done cinematic. We have done cinematic Punisher, but in the sense that we brought Punisher more to light, that we can have an interconnection with them as well. So it's definitely, there's definitely a way to actually bring this character there. People may not realize who he is, but he actually has some type of intertwine with other known characters in Avengers as well. So Avengers, Nick Fury, S.H.I.E.L.D., we can start from there and work ourselves backwards, back into Shadows of the Streets, into the Punishers, into the Luke Cage, that type of scenario. So it's definitely a possibility we can do that.
Well, that's it. So, you mean, look, you have the book Marvel Team Up, right? So you had Marvel Team Up and you had 2-in-1. So Marvel Team Up was generally Spider-Man teaming up with everybody, in per issue. Mm-hmm. And then you had 2-in-1, which was the Thing from the Fantastic Four teaming up with people. So keep in mind that most of these superheroes are in New York. Why do a crime in New York? So keep in mind, Avengers Mansion, New York. The Fantastic Four Baxter Building, New York. The Hellfire Club as villains, New York. And they're all blocks from each other. And then you have Daredevil, New York. Heroes for Hire, New York. The New Warriors, New York. And then you have all the independents like Daredevil and Spider-Man and the Punisher, all New York. And then the Human Torch had his own solo run in New York. The Thing, when he's out with the Fantastic Four, New York, right? So there's honestly, I think someone did a poll one time, and this is back in 2000 or late 90s or 2000. There was 157 known superheroes residing in New York at the time, and I'm sure there's more now. S.H.I.E.L.D. Their one of their head offices is in New York. Right. Everything happens in New York, right? And then of course Canada, we got what? Canada has only Alpha Flight. Covering all of Canada, but all these heroes are in New York. That's a different show. But getting back to Deathlok, yes, you're right. Deathlok operating from the shadows, interacting with some of the lesser heroes, and it would really be smart to bring in Roxanne, that power company, Roxanne Oil, as they're called, or Roxanne, it would be smart for him to have that in there and then just kind of tie that within the Marvel universe. That would give it a lot more life. I mean, there's a lot of life in it already. I'm not saying it's lacking it, but it really would build on that story. So once again, I would like to see that as its own series with him dealing with rocks and oil, trying to get back his body, trying to deal with his kid, trying to deal with his wife, fighting, his villains and situations that he's got to get past. I'm looking at what they're doing with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm really liking that. What they did with, Scarlet Vision, WandaVision, I really like that. And I know there's Moon Knight coming up, there's She-Hulk coming up. I was like, okay, so
Loki's coming up. Yep,
Loki's coming up, exactly. So at New York. So I think Deathlok, coming from a different aspect, that if they can get maybe a little bit of time travel or going through different dimensions, that's cool, because we know with Doctor Strange, was it Multiverse of Madness, that's playing into a part of this. So this is the time to bring it over, and as a standalone series, I can bring in some of the other characters, where he can crisscross with the Daredevil, with Punisher. Yeah, it was really be nice. So if I have to turn around, and let's see, cast who could play this particular character, be it if it's Luther or Michael, I would go with the Luther because he is the original. Bring in elements of Michael, unless they're really going to do it, because I mean, let's be real, they're not going to go and do Deathlok for a long period of time. If they had to do it, they're going to focus on one. So I say, bring elements from all of it that makes sense. Let it be Luther, the soldier, but give him Michael's family
passion, right?
Yes. And have him fighting the corporation to get his body back, to have that happy ending, at the end of where you see the, Bruce Banner going from downtown, So if I had to turn around and cast the main guy right now, I would cast, and you're not going to know who he is. And if I mispronounced his name, and he hears it by chance, I apologize. I really do. But the actor I would go for is S.H.I.E.L.D. Dirisu. Yes. Dirisu. S.H.I.E.L.D. Dirisu. You're looking at me, Rod, going, who the heck is he? So I know the name is pronounced S.H.I.E.L.D, but it's spelt S-O-P-E. Okay? He's on a TV show right now called Gangs of London. So first name is S-O-P-E. Last name is D-I-R-I-S-U. If you watch Gangs, he's a British actor. If you watch Gangs of London, you will see his character. His character does, first when you see him, you think he's a nobody in episode 1. He's standing there. He's turning around, the main mobster dies in this movie. It's a very Scorsese, Godfather kind of thing. So the Godfather, the main guy who's running all the gangs in London, dies in the very opening scene pretty much. They're doing the funeral. He's in a bar. He's supposed to keep the peace. He's mouthing off to some guys. Okay, fine. Then a whole fight breaks out. When you see how this man does the fight, and it's not because of how he does the fight scene was really nice. He does the fight scene, and he does it himself. He knows karate, he knows judo, he's into contact sports. So he's got the physicality part, and I think he would really do that well, because if he's not going to do too much killing, right, then he's going to do more physicality. What gets me is how, when I saw him in that opening scene, the acting, because he's very downplayed, how he doesn't come off like he has no fear, because he's got a good measure of his abilities. He's confident, but he doesn't go up there rubbing it in people's faces. He's very, when you see him at first, it's like, okay, this guy's just average. And then when you see him do what he needs to do, you're like, where did that come from? Right? In a good way. So I think he could definitely balance being an ex-soldier in a cyborg body to play. The only thing is he would have to maybe adopt an American accent, being part of the U.S. military, if they're going to kind of somewhat change that. But new actor, and he's done a lot of work before on different series and shows, so he's been around for a while, so he's seasoned. It's not like this was his first big break. That's who I'm going to go with on this one. If you guys are not familiar, the thing you can watch right now is Gangs of London. I'll pull out his character's name here in a second. But while Rod's pulling out his list or his pick there.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So you know what? That's good. I was going more of the Michael Collin aspect of it, but you're right. I like, because I know it's gonna have to start with Luther. Like it should definitely be. It should be both. It have the ability to have the soldier aspect of him, because that's the whole point of the show. You're starting off. You're basically
right.
Is having that aspect. I you know what I me, I like to do stuff a little different, a little unique, and like I wonder if this person can pull this off. So I'm gonna go with Lance Gross. Now Lance Gross, some may know or may not know him. He's done a couple of stuff. He's been in Hawaii Five-0. He's been in a couple of episodes with MacGyver, the new series.
Okay.
Sleepy Hollow. But you would definitely, if those who know the show House of Pain,
yes,
the Calvin Payne. So the son.
Yes.
Not back to Alan Payne.
No.
But that's the nephew. So the darker one. So
yes,
Calvin.
I know what you're talking about. Right.
So right. So
wow.
Like I was like thinking, you know what? Because of the show and stuff like that, Hawaii Five-0 and stuff like, again, he has these little elements that he's done some episodes, done some shows where he could be that kind of tough guy, but it's not really. I just want to see if I can break him out into something. So this is something different. You haven't seen him do anything to that.
Did he play a role in Black Panther? Or am I getting confused?
No, you're switching to someone else. So he but I know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of I was thinking of him too, but because he's already in Marvel.
Yeah.
Daniel. Oh my goodness, I know.
You're right.
Who you're talking about, right? So yeah, that's what I was saying. I want to give Lance an opportunity to take this one and go, because he's gonna have to work with. This is where you're gonna learn your. You're gonna earn your actor's chops.
You gonna learn today.
We're gonna make you do something that's a little different and show. But he does have the element. He has the ability. I'm trying to remember where I saw him do something that was a very nice focus.
Mm-hmm.
Was more of a drama type of scenario. But if we've known him for being a funny guy and everything like that, but he has the ability to be this focused. Let's just try to give him that other opportunity to be a soldier. Yeah. Because we've seen some shows where we see some characters and we're like, some actors play a certain character and we're like, I would never have caught you at that, but you did all right.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, so if he's got the comic timing, that would help offset some of the seriousness from the show. And I don't mean like goofy, he's got to be like the straight man for a comical situation.
Right. And this is where I want to levitate on that type of that characteristics for the Michael Collin aspect of him. For the Michael Collin aspect of him, having that compassion and having to be, dealing with inner demons in that sense of how to fight against himself and stuff like that. So I could definitely see him on that side much better.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if I can catch him on the action side, the Luther side.
Right.
So
right.
I believe you can be able to find the work style balance and be able to give us what we want and what we need from that character. I think I can see him do that. But your guy, you already got chops there. So it's like, whew.
And that's the character he plays. So in Gangs of London, he plays a character named Elliot Finch. So that's the character he plays in Gangs of London, Elliot Finch.
Got it.
Yeah, he's a bad man. I saw him. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. It's gonna be a tough one. We're gonna put it out there to you. Who would you like to see play it? And maybe you might want to see, J. August Richards play him again, right? So the guy who played him the first time, play him again. And he was back from left. So you might want him to do it again.
Right.
And and he did a good job. I'm not saying he didn't do a good job, but I want to see more, once again, more of a classic look of Deathlok, which is behind me here, as opposed to the one he played. So yes, there's going to be some makeup involved. There's going to be a costume involved, you know.
Right. There's CGI involved and stuff like that. But you know,
yeah,
if he's willing to come back and we can throw the CGI on him like that, then he definitely can take that aspect. You know what? Listen, we will just say we've seen similar. Again, he's like Deathlok is like the mirror slight image of Cyborg. So we've seen now not the Justice League version of Cyborg, but we've seen Cyborg on Smallville.
Yes.
We've seen Cyborg on Doom Patrol.
Yes.
And I need to double back on that again. That coming back. I need to double back and find out when that one's coming back. So if that has been, that aspect. So the visually is what I'm trying to get. Visually, Cyborg has been seen as a live adaptation on TV, on film. So it won't be hard for people to accept a Deathlok vision of a person who has half his face is metal with a red eye or
absolutely
yellow
not.
And having an arm, aka Marvel, aka the what was the joke? What was the joke he said on Winter Soldier? Oh, you were the White Panther? No, I was the White Wolf. What? What was that? That part killed me. He's like saying, "Wait, what? You the White Panther? No,
no, White Wolf. What?
Wait, you actually had an answer for me? Dang it, they called you something?" And Bucky's already gone. Like, I got no time for you, man. I gotta go. But
exactly.
But you saw the metal arm and everything. So we've already accustomed, or we're already been assimilated to that type of visual. So
for sure,
getting a Deathlok one won't be far.
No, exactly. Let's go back to what was it, Misty Knight? Okay, Misty Knight. Okay, when that actress was playing her, all the time I kept watching. I kept watching like Defenders and the Iron Fist series on Marvel. On Netflix. And every time something like, oh, she got shot in the arm, I was like, yes. And then, the arm got crushed. Yes. And, my wife's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? It's like, you want her arm to get injured? I'm like, she's supposed to have a bionic arm. She's supposed to have a bionic arm. Something has to happen to the arm. The arm needs to go. To keep it to the source material, the arm has to go.
For the love of all goodness, let the arm go. Let the arm go.
Every time something happened to the arm, it was teasing me, man. It was calling me, son. It was calling me. I was like, the arm has to go. Okay, shoot up the arm. The arm get bashed up. It got beat up. It get cut off. It got to get cut off. I don't. The arm has to go. So when she finally got the bionic arm, I was so happy about that, and I was like, yes, finally we are on track. Right. The only thing about that Marvel could have done, and it could have done really well for the two characters, it could have done, Daughters of the Dragon with Colleen and Misty. Right? That would have been a nice, let them go between America and over to Asia. Let them try to solve a crime because she's a private eye. So I know we're getting off topic, but Daughters of the Dragon was right there. It was right there. It was right there for a Netflix thing, and I hope we'll talk about this one time. They should have picked it up. Oh my God, yes, we got to talk about this. So we'll get into that. So back to Deathlok. You heard my pick for Deathlok. You heard Rod's pick for Deathlok.
Mm-hmm. Let us know.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see how you would see it. So please leave us a comment on the video. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Maybe you have a better pick for Deathlok than we did. We're open. So let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. You know what? We're going to wrap this one up because I think that's pretty much about it, right?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, I might seem basic, but you know what? We need to see in a good, a good light. So first of all, if you want to read Deathlok, you got to go to Astonishing Tales number 25. That's the start of the character back in 1977. You can find those issues. They're easy to find. And if you want, there's also a Deathlok miniseries, and it's not going to be with Luther Manning. It's going to be Michael Collins. So that's the picture that's behind me. That was the cover of it. Beautiful, beautiful art. I love how this was done. And yes, Michael Collins was a power lifter before he was a professor, so that's why he's so physically fit, and I guess that's why he wants his body back. It looks like in better shape than Deathlok's body. So
same.
That was a 4-issue prestige miniseries. Go to your local comic book store. Please keep supporting print comics. Digital's cool, man, but there's always something about opening that book and smelling it and having the tactile feeling in your hands. So support comics. My name is Barry3D. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, donate if you can. I'm here with
DJ Rod C. Yo.
DJ Rod C. This is the Iconist Podcast. Remember, the whole world that we're talking about started with an HB pencil, a piece of paper, and imagination. Cheers.
Cheers.